In Acts 26, Paul's in kangaroo court. Still, he's got every reason to panic, but instead he flexes his faith. No fear, no lawyers, no plan B. He's got a killer testimony and a hope that just won't quit. Join us as we talk about it.
Welcome to the Morning Manna Podcast. You're invited to the table for real conversations about faith, culture, and the everyday pursuit of loving God, loving each other, and loving the world around us.
Here we are. We're back for another episode of the Morning Manna Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Ertel, and today we've got our lead pastor, Chris Fletcher.
Hey, South Africa.
We've also got the one and only Anna Wiggins.
What's up?
And for the first time ever, we've got Pastor Jordan Gill.
It's good to be here.
Well,
yeah.
hello.
Pastor
So
Jordan,
as hard as you tried to keep me off of it, I clawed
you
my
were
way
almost
in.
on
You
the
have
show.
to beat Nick Ertel in chess.
Let me close my eyes and guess where you. Let me close my eyes and guess where you work. You probably work for the cafe or Manna Kids or Manna Worship. Is it Outreach?
Outreach. There it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you got to represent.
Yeah.
Your
Wow.
lane.
That's it. So
Yeah.
you were almost on the show like 3 different times, and you
Yep.
had to cancel. You were on our live episode of the show, but the one that wasn't recorded.
It's true.
We couldn't risk
Is it an episode if it's not recorded?
So
Yeah.
it's kind of technically your first time. It's
pretty meta.
Welcome.
No, it feels
Yeah.
good to be here.
That's
yeah.
good. And welcome back to you. You were on your world tour. Where'd you go?
I don't like it when you say it that. It seems demeaning when you
A
say it that
turd.
way.
You went to 3 different
I think
countries.
you said that on purpose then.
Did you
What?
not?
No.
No?
What 3 countries did I go to?
You went to the Republic of Ireland and
Oh.
then Northern Ireland.
Hey,
And
watch it.
then Poland.
Watch
Whoa,
it.
whoa.
And we stayed in Amsterdam for way longer than I wanted to.
For the
Oh,
kids
there
at
you go.
home,
That's a whole
for the
nother
kids at
story.
home, it was Amsterdam. We did
Yeah.
we did edit.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
did
yeah, there
edit.
you go.
Okay.
My apologies.
Yeah, but
Five-
we were visiting Gary Bolton, Fresh Life, in Northern Ireland.
Love the way they say Jesus.
I was there with Pastor.
By the way,
Pastor
Gary
Gill.
said I have a good Northern Irish.
How would he say
accent, so-
Jesus?
he.
So yeah, it's like a valley. So it's like Jesus, and then you come.
Yeah,
out of
you
the
go
valley.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Won't you come alongside us in advancing the kingdom
Yeah,
of
okay.
Jesus?
That was good.
So he was
Yeah.
lying. He was lying to you. But anyway,
Pastor Gary's going to be on the show
Hey,
like next
I've
month.
been
We are.
to the founding church of Ireland, so I feel like I know a thing or two now. Haven't spent
the founding
Yeah.
Church of Ireland. Are you talking about
Like the initial-
St. Patrick?
Yeah, St.
Yeah,
Patrick's
St. Patrick.
first
I,
church.
I preached
The
in
cradle
that.
of
I preached in that
Christianity.
church. I feel I have more to say than
and
you.
we recorded it.
Yeah.
We
Tuesday.
did.
And
Yeah,
we're gonna
stay
show it.
tuned. You're going to get to see that.
That's cool.
That message is pretty cool. And then we went to Pro-Am in Poland, based in the
Poland.
It started in Warsaw. They're in Łódź. They're Tomish. It's really beautiful work they're doing there. Very
Neato.
redemptive work. If you're interested in either of those, which I'm telling you, you're interested in both of those, you need to make plans to be with us or to catch
Yes.
all of the rock episodes because we're going to feature that pretty heavily. I'm very excited for our rock Reach Out celebration.
We're also
going to
have them on the podcast during the Rock.
all those people I mentioned?
Yes.
Boom. There you go.
So-
You don't have to move a muscle, South Africa. You stay right where you are and keep it tuned here. What?
My goodness.
Nothing.
Well,
Shouldn't have invited me into the back end,
since
bro.
you're speaking up, Pastor,
Oh,
Yeah, by the time this
yeah,
drops,
that's
it'll be
right.
true.
Scooped it.
you are now ordained. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Pastor
you very
Bryson
much.
Hopkins.
Wow.
Excited for you.
We only did that because we wanted to keep Matea around, but
That's true. It's the only reason that I
Yeah.
got ordained is so that she would stay around.
legitimately. Yeah, we didn't want her to go anywhere else, so you were the collateral damage. We got to put up with you.
Yeah, we
That's
got
right.
married. She's like, if you're not a pastor within like a few years, then I'd.
Time was ticking. I tell you.
Yeah.
She again does not watch this podcast.
I
For
don't
anyone
blame-
She
wondering.
doesn't watch
I don't
it, she
blame her.
listens
Yeah.
to it.
All right, what do you got for us today?
Yeah.
All right, we have a fun game because Pastor Jordan Gill is on this podcast. We want to introduce another segment, a
Finally.
new one that may or
dear.
may not reoccur. It's not Cape's
Are you smarter than
Consequences.
a fifth grader?
Are you? Yeah,
We'll-
he
we'll
definitely
find
is.
out.
If there's anyone who is,
Depends
it's
on the
Matt.
subject matter.
That's true.
But the name of this is Fact or Fiction.
Ooh.
So just Jordan, to your right, there are 2 envelopes.
How about that?
Look at that. Oh my gosh, it's almost like
How
we
about them
planned
apples?
this.
Oh.
All right, in these 2 envelopes, there is a factual statement and a fictional statement. So Jordan does not know which one this is going to be. You guys are going to
Wait, there's fact or fiction in. So there's 4 total cards in those 2 envelopes.
No.
One
of
card
them-
is fact. One card is fiction.
Yes, the 3 of you will pick 1 or 2, and then he will read off the statement of fact or fiction.
It's a lot of work for 2 cards. Shove them both in a 1-2 envelope.
I do think
no.
you're
There's a
deeply
reason.
committed. Okay.
Hey,
your summary of this
I'm sorry.
could have been more.
I'm sorry.
Summary.
My fault.
Yeah, can you let me
I
run
will.
this segment?
Yeah.
I have one thing that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do. Okay.
I like the way
Do your
Jimmy
thing.
Fallon does
Do your
it.
thing.
Sorry.
You just
The
made
three
it
of
2
you-
things in the way that you're doing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said I was sorry. Why don't you forgive me faster? Just forgive me, Bryson.
Give us the directions.
That is a
Yes.
biblical principle. So,
Once you
yeah,
guys choose
forgiveness.
whether he reads 1 or 2, you will have 90 seconds to interrogate Jordan, and your job is to determine whether or not that statement is fact or fiction.
Collectively, or do they each get 90 seconds?
No.
Succession.
Collectively,
Okay.
90
Okay.
seconds.
Okay.
There will be
We can do that.
crosstalk.
Yeah, we got it. We got
AKA
it.
Chris
We got
will
it.
talk for 90
Examination.
seconds, and you guys will try to get a word. out.
Anna's good
Shut
at
up.
this.
I'm just gonna pretend I'm not here now.
She's got that discernment
You
thing.
have crossed me for the last time.
The
Okay,
thing is,
all right,
you're
what
giving
do we
me
do?
what I want. All right.
What's next?
Do you guys want him to read 1 or 2?
2.
Do you guys
Card number
Well, I
one
want one.
or card number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Read 2. Whatever.
Or both.
Which
Right.
you're pick 2.
Stop making sense, Anna.
2 will once he reads it, I will start the timer. You have 90 seconds to then determine whether or not.
Wait. So we don't get to hear both of them? We have to decide if it's fact or fiction blind?
Yes.
Yes, we only get to hear the
Yes.
one that we chose.
Yes.
It's kind of
Welcome to the Icebreaker.
It makes it
Chris.
harder.
Okay.
So he has
I'm
to
aware.
defend the story.
Okay.
Yes.
And
All
based
right.
on his answers, we choose.
Does he know what that is?
He wrote them. They're
I wrote
his
both of these,
experiences.
so I know which one
Oh. All right,
Fact
so you
and
got the
fiction.
upper hand. This is
we
not
have a
Caven's
timer?
consequences.
Are we-
Usually we haze new
Once
people.
he reads it,
and
I
he's
will
got
start
the upper
timer.
hand.
Chris, you said you weren't going to talk.
I wasn't.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Jordan, let's hear it.
While traveling through Europe, I once got detained at a Romanian airport for 8 hours.
Ooh, I feel
Starting
like
the
this
timer.
I feel
What
like
did
it's
they
true,
detain
but
you
we're
for?
going to see.
No, Jordan Gill is really quick to tell all of his stories and make them these big, long, drawn out. Like
Well, let's ask.
he acts
Yes.
like it's an episode of Lost every
Where was
single
this?
time
I
he
like
goes in
this. I
airport
don't
security.
feel very grilled. I feel like
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
just
yeah.
talking at each
You
other.
said
Where was
Why
this?
did I get
Romania.
detained? You ready for
Where?
this? An expired passport. I made it through 3 like customs agents before
Fiction.
they were like,
Yes.
your
Which
passport's
airport?
expired.
Fiction.
You saw the
Give
same
me
thing I saw?
Fiction.
Which
You see
which
his little
airport?
face?
Which airport?
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of the airport.
Of
This
course.
was
That's
in
not
the
true.
But he
That's
would.
fiction.
The thing is, he would
That's
remember.
fiction. You
Yeah, I
would
wasn't
remember.
an adult at
Fiction.
this time.
Okay, stop.
Yeah.
Read number 1 and let's hear the fact.
You want-
No,
number one?
no. You guys are saying
Do they
right
still have
now
time?
you feel like you're absolutely certain
No,
at
I
this
think
point.
that's fiction.
Certain. That's fiction.
Fiction. We all
Yeah,
think it's
I think
fiction.
it's fiction.
Okay, you know what? We're going to change this up. Fine. Read number 1.
It is fiction.
And
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
hear it.
He's
No,
upset
let's
that we
hear
got it right.
He got caught.
No, let's hear number 1. If you think that this is, if you're so sure, let's hear it.
Go ahead.
Punish us with this number 1.
And you have to use the rest of your timer also. Go ahead.
While at a zoo, I once jumped the fence at the hippo exhibit to smack a hippopotamus and lived to tell the tale.
That's so ridiculous. Now I want to say that one's the fiction.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Gill boys are up to
you
some
think-
crazy stuff.
You think that you're so
He
sure.
didn't say he was
Okay,
successful.
yeah, so either of those are actually believable and
yes.
unbelievable when it comes to Mr. Jordan Gill. He's an,
slapped
he's
a
an
hippopotamus.
international
No. He said he jumped the fence to do that.
He's
he
an
didn't
international
say he actually
man
did.
of mystery.
So he might
Okay.
have jumped the fence. Whether he actually
That's
accomplished
probably
the
true.
task or not.
You know what?
So I think that one's true.
I hold.
I
Yeah,
do too.
I do too.
Number
I
1
do
is true.
too.
Number 2 is false.
There you go.
We're all in
Done.
agreement.
All right, Jordan, which one is true?
Yeah, I hopped a fence at the Bulgarian zoo. Very lax security measures.
You
100%.
said,
Snuck up on a hippo.
Bulgarian
Knew it.
Zoo. We were with it.
There's video evidence of me smacking him on the rump and then running as fast as I
Oh,
could.
you actually did it.
Oh yeah. So you guys ready for this? No cameras, no zoo attendants. It's just me and my friends. The fence is this high, but there is a moat. But whoever was feeding the hippos that morning left the ramp down over the moat. 'Cause they were like, I'm not
They
pulling this back
invited
up.
you to do this.
Wow.
So there's video evidence
wait.
of me
Was
hopping
this-
the fence.
Was this during communism?
Sneaking up.
So it was our moat?
Oh my god.
No, this was 20.
Okay, so it wasn't
2010.
during
Yeah.
after communism it's their moat,
yeah,
but
yeah.
during communism it's our
So
moat.
the first one, it wasn't Romania, but I did make it through. I was 12 years old. We were headed to the Boy Scout Jamboree. Shout out to all the Eagle Scouts out there.
That also makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. To Germany, we made it through Serbia, like the front half of Hungary, and then I think we were in the Hungarian Austrian border. And some customs agent was like, "Your passport's expired." And not by a little bit, by like 5 months.
And you've already made it through like 3 different countries?
That's not surprising.
So we weren't flying. We were in our little
Yeah.
Boy Scout van, and
Nobody
my dad
caught
was
it?
with me.
So Sarah and I, my sister, who's 13 months younger than me, we were traveling together on a youth trip. We definitely switched passports one time and got
Just
all
for
the way-
funsies?
Wow.
No.
Oh, okay.
Not on purpose.
I was like,
but
that's
and
bold.
we didn't go through passport control at the same time, but we definitely both got through.
On this last trip, my wife did grab the wrong boarding pass, and so I went to board the plane in Amsterdam, and the lady was like, "Sir, you're already on the flight," and I'm like, "That's not possible. I'm standing."
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I don't know if you know this. I am right here.
So, well, I decided, you know what? Never mind. My name is
Very
actually
talented.
super fun story. My name is actually Rachel. I got married recently, so my name is shifting. So she let me on the Rachel's pass.
Wow.
Boarding
All
pass.
right. Well,
that's fun.
congratulations or whatever.
We did it, y'all.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys
or
did
whatever.
it. You guessed correctly.
We get a prize?
I had to do a better
game
job.
next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, why don't we play a
He's
fun little
laser,
game?
he's laser focused on ordination, so he's phoning in this part.
Check
He's like,
this out.
Okay. Wow.
just get to the-
That's,
just get to the night.
hurtful.
Why don't we play a fun little game with the audience? Why don't you put 2 truths and a lie down in the comments, and
that's
maybe
good.
we can try to figure out.
Okay.
Ooh, very fun idea.
Okay,
Right?
here's the thing.
You
Here's
should be the
thing.
producer, Nick. I'll take your chair.
We got to know who. But how are we going to do 2 truths and a lie with our brothers and sisters from South Africa? Like, we're going to have.
Hey,
Go Springboks.
you know what? That's their
They're
that's their
gonna get
problem to
to
figure it out.
show
Okay.
us how
That's
to
what
do
Google
that.
translates for.
Yeah.
They
That's it.
speak.
They speak perfectly good English.
Yeah. Who thought they didn't speak English?
What kind of? You think they're watching this
The
show?
linguist.
How many
I
languages?
haven't been.
We're a big hit
I
on
haven't been
YouTube
to South
Translate.
Africa.
He's really good on European history and European languages.
How many languages do you know,
I'm
Jordan?
guessing they have more than one primary language in that country.
He
do.
is
Yes.
he is aggravating to travel with because he knows enough of every language everywhere you are.
Right,
To
right.
look like I'm gonna. Like if we were walking past the hippo moat, I would shove him in. If the fence was that high, I would push him over
Aren't
it.
hippopotamuses like the most dangerous?
Yeah.
They
dangerous?
kill more people in
Yeah,
Africa
for sure.
every year than all other mammals combined. But they're also my favorite animal. So it was it was a bucket list
If
moment.
you guys really
I was
want
like
to
the
see,
stars have aligned. I can.
Goodness.
I'm
My
just
parents
saying,
weren't there. They would not
It's a
have let
bucket
me.
list moment.
There's not an animal
Jump it.
on
like
my
Jordan is
hidden
dreaming
animal.
about things I want to do.
Yeah, there's not a hidden animal
And-
on my
and
bucket
that's-
list.
That's it. Yep. Nope.
Yeah, but comment down below. We'd love to hear those 2
Yeah,
truths
we'd
and a
love
lie.
to.
And depending on how good they are, I will shout you out next week. And
That's
we'll
right.
make that
All right.
That's
the
right.
icebreaker.
That's
And
fun.
if I know you, I'll respond back to you.
Yeah.
Do we
you
get
go.
to play? Can we
I
throw
think
ours?
if
comment?
Nick lets me.
If you comment,
I'll talk to the producer.
yeah.
Okay.
But the top comment of last week, this is the
Is he
we were
already
talking about
ordained?
He's
Is
acting like
is it possible?
as
to
of this episode.
No.
Yeah, by the time this drops.
Yes, true.
Yes.
By the
If
time
it's
it drops,
Pastor
yeah.
Hopkins.
so you're stepping into your power for when this drops, and the power
Yeah,
of the
I'm
O.
securing this because we'd
That's
have
right.
to not drop this episode. So like as of now, I have to.
Well, we
the
wouldn't
or-
be
it's the ordination.
embarrassed.
Yeah, well.
Wow.
All right, top comment of last week. We were talking about hills to die on. EdZ188 said, "My hill to die on is almond milk is not milk. It's only called almond milk because almond juice sounds disgusting."
Ew.
And I speak from
true.
experience because they're allergic
like
to
that.
dairy. So I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty
almond
funny.
juice
Almond
does sound
juice, yeah, I wouldn't-
gross.
Almond juice is
wouldn't buy
pretty
that.
rough. Yeah.
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 Do y'all drink almond milk? You do?
Yeah.
We have a few people with some
Oh,
lactose
lactose.
issues in our
Okay,
house,
okay,
so
okay.
we're constantly stocked with oat, almond,
Oat
We
milk?
did.
I like
we
oat
jumped
milk.
on the oat
Lactate.
milk train. Yeah.
Oat milk is good, but it's terrible for you.
Oh, for real?
What do you mean?
Yeah, it has the worst ingredients. Like if you look it up
Well,
Why would I
on
look it
health
up?
rating, it's terrible.
we're gonna have some doctors commenting down below.
So
Hey,
sorry.
more engagement for
Oatly,
us.
If you'd like to sponsor us,
So you're
I
saying
might change
you're saying
my
I
opinion.
should squeeze some almond juice over my cereal?
Oh, gross. All right.
Okay. All right.
Well, let's get to the meat and potatoes. How about that? Let's stop talking about almonds. Get to
Yeah,
the meat
speaking of
and
almonds.
potatoes. All right, we're gonna pick
I'd
up
like to
from,
get to the fish and chips.
Yeah, well, no,
is that
it's-
possible?
No, we're back in
Hey.
America.
There we go.
Hey,
Yeah.
shout
All
out,
right.
shout out to my British and Irish friends.
Actually,
Bangers
hey,
and mash.
quick little shout out. Next week, we are actually going to have literal meat and potatoes during this segment.
Wow,
Man,
I'll have
could
to
I
just
get
look.
on that podcast? Like,
No.
what is
You're
that?
not invited.
You're not
What is the guy
invited.
gotta
You're not
do?
invited.
Yeah, I
I'll have
noticed
to
there's
look-
no spread this time
I'll
around.
have to look at the meat and eat small portions. I did just come to this episode from a doctor's appointment where I received the crushing news my cholesterol is going up, not down. So shout out to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to have to abandon the waffle fries after service tonight.
I can't
So,
believe you have high
hashtag-
cholesterol in your 20s. That's crazy. I mean,
I know.
Yeah,
it is
it's
tough.
wild.
It's tough to imagine a man as young as I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I dye my hair gray, actually.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
kind of a
I get
reverse
highlights.
just
Yeah, yeah.
for men situation.
I want to look. I want to look
Yeah.
more wise than I am. So
Well, let's
that's what I
jump
do.
into these meat and potatoes before this gets away from us any more than it
let's
already
do it.
has.
Before they get cold.
All right, so we're in chapter 26 of Acts.
That's
and
my
we're,
age.
We're picking up from last week because last week he was in kangaroo court. Paul was in kangaroo court. Really, this court, I hesitate to even say he's on trial because he's really not. He's in front of Governor Festus, the new governor. He's in front of King Agrippa, but he's not really
You
on
could say he's in the
trial.
grip. of
Okay.
Agrippa.
You could.
You could.
And
All right.
people do.
People do? Or Chris
Many
does?
people both
Yeah,
do.
no.
Yeah.
We're
Well, now...
we're
Chris
trying here.
and
they've got
others.
to the place where they've now given him the floor to speak. And
Yeah.
so Paul's going to speak up, and he's, instead of defending himself, he's really just going to preach a message. He's in front of all these people who could completely ruin his life, and yet he speaks up and he doesn't defend himself. He basically preaches a message.
He's going to speak up, which I think is a really big thing. Even at the beginning, is that he speaks up to begin with, because he can't help himself.
He doesn't have to.
Doesn't have to. I think most people, if given this opportunity, would clam up and plead the fifth, or just go, "Hey, look, man, I'm headed on to Caesar. I'm done talking to you
Right.
turkeys. I would not say anything else." He can only make it worse. He can't make it better.
Isn't that interesting?
If everything goes perfectly, he'll be break even. He cannot. He's already appealed to Caesar. It's too late.
And that's what I mean by, like, this room is filled with people who could ruin his life. Him
Right.
speaking up is nothing but risk, and
He
yet
could just
he does it
he could just set
anyway.
off a riot and get killed.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So one of the biggest themes that we see in this chapter, and it's the thing that we emphasize in the message this week, is hope. So Paul's hope, our hope, future hope, past hope.
Yeah.
We talk about hope. In fact, we even break it down into an acrostic. We've got hope, HOPE, holiness, obedience, promise, and evangelism. So they're not necessarily in order, but as we start to read through the chapter, the first one
They
that we
jump out.
see is the P, promise.
Yeah.
But Paul is holding on to this promise. So, Pastor Chris, do you want to explain that to us? What is this promise he's holding on to?
So when I set up the message, when I preach this message, I'm going to set up our idea of hope. And most of us think of hope as like a deferred dream of something that's going to come into fruition later. So like I hope there's enough around for retirement. I hope my kids
Right.
grow up and find spouses like I found a spouse. I hope the Cowboys eventually win something.
I hope that McDonald's brings their Szechuan sauce back. Kind of like that. Is that a good,
Yeah,
is that a good
yeah.
example? Yeah, I just wanted to jump
Yeah.
in.
Thanks for
Yeah.
thanks for that. I can see why we waited so long to have you here. The difference between Paul's hope and our hope, though, is Paul's going to reach back to reach forward, because the promise that he's talking about is the promise of the return of the Messiah, who at the same time has risen from the dead. So that's the tension of the promise. And it's a beautiful promise, because God is the one who establishes the covenant. At the same time, he fulfills the covenant that he's established with us, and we can't fulfill. So we're caught in this beautiful promise of God's plan from Genesis 3:15 to set right that which was broken. His promise to send his son to set that right. His son's coming, dying, resurrecting. Now the kingdom is established, and now we have this promise and this wait for a train that's coming around the bend. I don't know if you can hear that on the I'm hearing it in my headphones.
Alvaro, can they hear that?
They can hear that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
we
they
can
hear
hear
it.
Yeah,
that,
nice.
so they can hear that.
Yeah, they can hear it.
That's Noel's favorite thing about Woodpeckers games now is not the baseball, but the train.
Oh, yeah.
That goes by the outfield. Yeah, she's all about the train.
The train. The
That was
promise.
my best Noel impression.
Paul's promise, and the promise that Paul is clinging to, is that Jesus got back up and he's returning.
Yeah, that's good. And I love how you emphasize the empty grave.
Yeah.
Not the cross. And it's not that we're demeaning the cross.
No.
Like there's power.
There's power in the
work
cross
of what Jesus
he
did on
triumphed
the cross.
over sin. He made a public
Right.
spectacle over sin by becoming a curse for you by hanging on that tree.
Right.
No, the cross is huge. The thing is, though, if he'd just done that,
That's right.
If he'd just done that,
He's not the only one who has done that.
no,
Tons
If
of
he-
people
if
have
he'd
died
just,
on a
If
cross.
he'd just done that, then the gospel has no power. Because the power of the gospel is not in the cross. That's the power of the fulfillment and the triumph over sin. The power of the gospel is that he got back up.
Come on, man.
I
That's
get
it.
I get
Yes. I love it. So Paul
excited.
starts as he takes the floor, and he starts sharing about his background. He talks about his life as a Pharisee, his life growing up. He studied under Gamaliel. I always say his name wrong. How do you say it?
Gamaliel.
Gamaliel.
I think that was pretty good.
Gamaliel.
If anyone tries to hit me on like ancient culture pronunciation, I'm like, oh, what part of the country was your teacher from? Like, oh, Athens,
there you go.
down south. Yeah, mine was Thessaloniki up north.
Paul, yeah, thank you.
Up north.
So Paul, he's talking about his upbringing,
Most scholars pronounce it that way, but then again, Jordan Gill did read
American
it.
scholars.
American scholars, yeah. Okay,
bet
the point is
N.T.
this. The
Wright
point is
has
this.
a
Paul
different
is
approach.
talking about his upbringing, his credentials, his zeal.
Jordan listened to an audiobook on the flight
my
over to
gosh.
Ireland, so I guess we should yield the remainder of our time to the learned one in our
I'm going to
midst.
yield the remainder of my time to these people.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Gamaliel.
Let me ask the question. So
Down
Paul,
south.
Gamaliel Donner.
Gamaliel.
yeah, he's
You are clearly a watcher of this podcast because you came in ready to go.
Oh, yeah. I have
You're
strong
like,
thoughts.
Oh, Jeff's not here. I got it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take his place. All right.
No, you're doing great, Nick.
Are we done?
Going to read my Bible.
Okay.
Yep, let's pray.
I don't think we
Yeah,
are.
for
done,
real.
but-
We're gonna pray.
Yeah.
My goodness. So Paul is talking about his upbringing, being a Pharisee, his zeal. If anyone has the ability to say that he's earned his righteousness, it's Paul. And yet
Paul
he
and Jordan Gill.
says, and yet he says that it didn't work out for him. And so, Anna, I want to ask you, why do you think he's willing to expose a failure like that in front of all these people?
That's an interesting way to frame it.
He's
that
leading
he's-
to something.
Who is?
He is.
Paul or
Well,
you are?
I'd say both.
Yeah.
The point is,
Paul and Nick.
he, if anyone could earn the righteousness, it's him. He just gave all these credentials,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yet he exposed the failure of earning his righteousness
Yeah.
in front of all these people. What's the point? What is he trying to do here?
Yeah, he is laying the argument for who he was before he encountered Jesus. So there's a space where he's going, hey, if this is what I was supposed to be doing, I got all of that stuff right, and I was still missing the mark. And he's going to draw more heavily on where he met Jesus and how that changed everything. So over and over again, we see him use his story to relate to the people that are in the room to go, yeah,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
with you. I was like you.
Yeah.
And
If I missed the mark, so did you.
right. Yeah, there's more to this.
Right.
So he's going to share enough of his testimony to invite people to identify with him, so then he can lead them to the same place he was led
That's right.
to.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull the rug out from under your feet one way or the other. So we're all going to jump on this and get it pulled out from under us together. We're all going to find ourselves faulty and wanting and in need of Jesus, or I'm going to pull the rug out one way or the other. That's
It's interesting. I read one scholar who said that it's possible.
no, you didn't. Jordan
that-
Gill read that scholar and put that idea
He
into
just
his
said
mind.
he read one.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one
Just
scholar.
one scholar.
Who says that
from
it's
New
possible
Bern.
that Paul was actually a part of the Sanhedrin when they decided to stone Stephen.
Yeah,
Right.
I've read that.
Now they can't prove it, but when it says he casted his vote, did that mean he literally casted a vote, meaning he was on the Sanhedrin, or did that mean he
Yeah.
was just in
Yeah, because in
support
this
of what they
in
were
this
doing?
chapter
Back-
he says I even cast a
That's
vote.
what he
so
said.
it's very similar.
Back in 8
Yeah.
and 9, if you look at the crowd he was running with, it does lend in the direction as if like this isn't his first time in this. It's not like he popped in and was like, "Hey guys, new to the
Right.
room, but let's stone that guy."
Well, what's interesting is if he was on the Sanhedrin, as he's sharing this in front of all these people, it's very possible that he's looking at faces he knows, or faces who know him. And so as he's explaining,
Oh, I
I'd
didn't.
go
I
so
didn't
far
think.
as to say probable.
I didn't think that was in question. Yeah, I've
Right.
always been in the
I'm
camp
just-
that
I'm
these
just-
are very familiar
I'm
faces.
just expounding on this because sometimes we read this story and we don't realize the relational lines that are actually drawn in the midst of this room.
He's standing in the midst of that awkward family Thanksgiving conversation, and he's laying it out bare in front of everybody and calling everybody to account. And
Exactly.
this is you and your best friends you grew up with,
Yep.
and
That's it.
you're going, hey
That's
man,
it.
I know you, and I know you, and I know where you've been. And he's going, look,
Like,
we're
I was there
all.
with you.
That's right. We've
That's
all
right.
fallen short. He's going to write that later. We've all fallen short.
I want to know, have you ever seen someone tell their
Actually, he's already written
testimony?
that. Sorry.
And they spend like 25 minutes talking about their past and all the sin that they've been through and all the terrible things that have happened. And the last 5 minutes, they're like, but Jesus.
It's like youth group in the early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s.
We've seen that, right?
Yes.
How do you
It's not-
how do you do what Paul's doing here, where he's genuinely sharing his testimony, and he does talk about some of his past stuff and his upbringing and some of the wrong things that he's done, but ultimately he makes much of Jesus. How do we do that without falling into the trap of glorifying our past sin?
Yeah, he's not spending so much time talking about what he did that it almost becomes enticing. Because sometimes I grew up in youth group where people would share their story. It's all the wild and crazy stuff they did. And when you're a teenager, you're hearing it, and they're like, well, you got to do a
That's
whole
right.
bunch of wild and crazy fun stuff.
worked out for
and
you.
still
It'll
leave
work out for
Jesus."
me.
Yeah. Almost like you're glorifying sin, more than you are the gospel. And so he tells enough to bring you in and introduce you to Jesus.
He tells enough to bring you in.
Yeah.
What he's doing is identifying with people. So if I'm in a place where I used to play soccer, if I'm in a place where people are telling stories about their wild and crazy behavior while playing the sport, I will identify with them enough to go, hey, look, we're all in the same camp together. We've all done the same type of stuff, and I met someone who can solve my problem. I met Jesus. So I'm not glorifying my sin. I'm telling enough of my story to help them see, hey, I'm meeting you in our lostness. I'm meeting you in our pain. I'm meeting you in been there, done that.
Yeah. To be a little preachery. My story, his glory, right? I'm going to tell you enough. But you're not going to share, most of the time you're not sharing your entire testimony with anyone at any one particular time. But I think we need to be willing enough to be vulnerable with it so that when the Holy Spirit says you need to share this part, and so many times you're like, yeah, but I don't want to share that part, Lord. Because we're not proud of what we did. Paul's not proud of who he was, but he's willing to share it, to identify with people so that he can introduce them to Jesus. It's everything for Jesus.
That's the power of a hope that's grounded in what happened back there. That's the power in looking back.
Hope.
That's the power in looking back going, there's past hope. Because regardless of whatever, and I recognize there's all sorts of ways people got to where they are, and plenty of them are riddled with pain and with trauma and with things that shouldn't have happened to you. Got that. But looking back at the shaping and the guiding hand of God to get me where I am today, that's part of the groundedness of being able to go back to my testimony, not just to point out the negative, but to point out where he met me in the midst. And that's why it's so important to find freedom from our past. That's why it's so important to let God meet me in that place, because what that does is that scars the wound. We don't showcase our wounds to people. You're going to get infected that way.
Right.
But we should be pretty liberal in showing our scars. Hang on. I'm kidding.
I love that analogy, though, because you need healing before you can show it.
Yeah.
And we've
But,
also...
I mean, don't wait and turn that into I got to clean myself up. No, you need to come to Jesus as you are, and then...
He heals you.
Yeah, that's right. And receive touch and then get to moving. So we're talking about,
There's a lot of
you need an
wisdom in
afternoon.
That's good.
Give me to the end of this message.
All right, so Paul continues his testimony, and he talks about his encounter with Jesus. On the road to Damascus, there's this bright light. Jesus shows up. He gets commissioned by Jesus, and his life changes forever. Pastor Jordan, I mean, you oversee outreach here.
It is I.
Right? Let me ask you, do you feel like we all need to experience that type of Damascus Road story, like that experience? Do you think we should all have one of those?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I'm hearing two different things, so I'll answer them separately, and then you tell me if I'm getting to the heart of the question, and then I welcome anyone else to jump in as you see fit.
Oh dear.
So I think of like a type of experience, and then maybe result. So type, I think a lot of people look at a story like this, and they're like, well, my journey of coming to know Jesus wasn't this dramatic, so do I even have a testimony worth sharing? And my answer to that would be absolutely. So I did not have a moment like this where there was a beam of light from heaven and thunder. I can remember I was 7 years old. I was raised in a Christian household. Both my parents, believers, went to church on Sunday.
What a terrible experience that must have been for you.
Yeah.
Raised by Christians who loved you? That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It's really a testimony killer.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
No,
What's
that's not
funny
what
is,
I'm saying.
so many people who have grown up in the church actually have that story, and they feel like, oh, I can't share this with anybody. But like that's a
how I felt
fantastic
when I was
testimony.
young. Yeah.
Like, look, you've been following Jesus your whole life. How much pain have you missed out on because you've been raised with biblical values? Anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so I'd offer it doesn't need to be dramatic. I don't think necessarily that everyone's going to have a Damascus moment, or it may not seem like that way. Now, with time, other elements of my story I've become more aware of them, and I think there is some drama in there. But it was just me on my bunk bed saying, you know what, I understand it, and I'm ready to make that decision. And Dad walking me through the salvation prayer. So that I would say that to the type of experience, right? There can be that journey for you can be more or less dramatic. Now, as far as the fruit or the result of that, I think that fruit should follow faith. So when we're looking at how Paul's life looks after that, there was definitely a heart posture change, an identity change, which led to, a life of
Obedience.
pursuing holiness.
Obedience is the proof text. Obedience is the proof text of your hope.
For sure. And we're actually going to circle back around to that in just a second. But in
My bad.
No, you're fine. But in this section specifically, what I'm seeing is actually the H, the holiness part, because hope starts with a life set apart and repentance. And so,
Love me a good acrostic.
Right. So let's
good
talk
time.
about holiness. What did holiness look like for Paul in this situation, and what does that look like for us today?
He got off social media for a few days.
Denied
Is that what
his
it was?
Facebook account.
Denied himself sweets and
Turned
Yeah.
off the Wi-Fi. Oh my goodness.
he did.
I
turn
think
off
it's
the
important
Wi-Fi.
to define terms. And when we were, I got the privilege of sitting in the room while Chris was, he had the opportunity to share to a group of church planters in Northern Ireland and then church revitalizers. And I thought he did a masterful job of upfront defining terms. So recognizing, some of the words we use might have different cultural context and meaning in the U.S. than they would here. So let me begin by defining all the terms that I'm going to talk about so that we can be on the same page as far as what I'm sharing. So when we're looking at holiness, the definition of what it means to be holy, you can look at a verse like 1 Peter 1, is it 16? Yeah. Be holy because I am holy. And the word used there in Greek, it's hagioi, and it means set apart or sacred.
Yeah.
So in this moment, Paul realizes I have been set apart. I am now, my identity's shifted. So it's no longer about what I want. It's about what God has called me to. And that should influence every aspect of our lives. It definitely, you can tell from the text here, it influenced, dramatically changed every aspect of Paul's life. So holiness, set apart, sacred, hagioi. And you see now that starts with a heart posture and understanding, but then it works itself out in a life of holy living, seeking to be like
Somehow
God.
I knew during this podcast you were going to bring
You
out.
can't get a Jordan
Another
appearance
language.
and not talk about Greek and or Hebrew maybe later.
Or Aramaic.
I love that text that he just pulled out, and I'm trying to find. It's in Numbers, and it's eluding me. But that text is a quote. So Peter is quoting from.
He is, yeah.
Peter's quoting from Numbers, where the Lord says he's talking about being set apart and sanctified. He's talking about coming into his presence at the tabernacle, and he says, "You're going to be holy." And why are you going to be holy? Because I'm holy. It's the way that you're going to demonstrate you're different than other people, not better than other people. You're different than other people.
That's
because
good.
we are set apart to be able to linger long in his presence. So the physical thing that Luke tells us that Paul does when he has that Damascus Road experience that we're talking about in Acts 9.
Yeah.
I just always assumed it says that he was blinded.
Right.
So then it says he didn't eat or drink for 3 days, and I just didn't really stop for a long time and think about why didn't he eat or drink for a few days. I thought at first maybe, I don't know, he couldn't find the food, but that doesn't make sense because they let him.
couldn't find the
well, I don't
food?
know.
Like, he just lost his appetite.
They led him to the house, but they did not lead him to the food.
So I didn't know what was going on.
Like,
Maybe everybody just left him alone or whatever. But then I thought, it's probably that something deep has happened here. And so either it's that he's chosen to fast or he's just so thrown off he's not eating. But regardless, not eating is one thing, but not eating and drinking seems deliberate. It seems deliberate, especially for a Jew.
Yes.
And I think that probably what's happening is he's grappling with the weight of this realization. I would call it the weight of his sin, the recognition of all I have worked my butt off my entire life. This is Paul, to be right before God, to be right before my people, and then all of a sudden Jesus shows up, and I'm my entire life. You got to fix this. You just pointed it all
He
at me,
realizes everything he's been doing to be righteous has actually been in rebellion.
and not just in rebellion. It has actively resisted.
Yeah.
Who his Messiah was trying to shape him to become.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah,
it's
Jesus doesn't say to him, "Why are you persecuting my people?" He says, "Why are you persecuting me?"
yes
Me.
Yeah.
Is it so hard? Why is it so hard for you to kick against me, bro?
Yep.
Like why are we having this?
That is interesting when he uses that personal way of saying that. Like, wow, I am coming
Yeah.
against you.
Kicking against the goats, I think he said.
Yes. Well, hold on.
He said goats. I just wanted to rile the Greek scholar over here.
Well, I appreciate that. Here's what I love about Paul's conversion. He didn't just believe. He put action to it.
Yeah.
He obeys. And he continues to go forward even when it lands him in trouble.
You're gonna go for it.
Can I
Yeah.
stress test what you just said?
Go ahead.
You just said Paul's conversion.
Okay. Well, we had this argument yesterday.
It wasn't an
It's a
argument.
discussion.
It's a discussion.
It
Okay,
wasn't
so
an argument.
I just want to throw this out there. I think I know what you're about to say. You're going to say, was he actually converted, right? And we have to get down to the definition.
I'm going to
of
say that
conversion.
we think about conversion. We talked about this last night at small group. Actually, we think of conversion because we were talking about a family member of a very close friend whose family is they're not believers, but they're adjacent. But it's a really challenging situation.
Yeah.
So what I said to them was, look, you got to remember that we think of conversion like it's the moment where someone raises their hand in a church service and then prays the sinner's prayers, if that's the only way one gets converted. Because I don't think Paul gets converted. He doesn't rise up and all of a sudden do all different things. He continues to go to the temple and purify.
He's still a
continues
Jew.
to pray. He's still a Jew.
For sure.
Right.
I
agree.
He's not converted. He suddenly sees Jesus for who he was, and he's a follower of Jesus.
Okay.
So he doesn't have this conversion experience. Ooh, Paul raised his hand, filled out card and database.
Not in our
now he's
modern
Christian.
American mindset.
So
but,
even the fasting,
But conversion's a loaded
well,
word.
and here's where I want to say, like, he did not have his allegiance in Jesus before that moment. He would that was not King Jesus before that moment.
But
and then
that's
he
the heart.
was.
That's the heart of the issue, right? So we go and do work in other countries where people would say, "Well, we're a Catholic nation." Well, now wait a minute. That's Jesus on that cross, and they are believing that they're trying to do right by that deity over there. What we're not trying to do is deconvert them from what they're doing. We're trying to get them to see that the Messiah, Jesus, is alive, risen from the dead, sits on the throne of their
Sure.
life, and for them to have a relationship with him. And if that's the case, and they go to Catholic Mass, my aunt went to be with Jesus yesterday afternoon. She went to Mass. She went to Mass every week. And if you sat down and talked with her about her living relationship with the risen Savior Jesus, she's my dad's sister. She would preach the paint off the walls.
Wow, that's cool.
This woman is right now in the presence of Jesus, and she went to Mass. So we didn't have this whole convert my aunt. We're not trying to convert my aunt.
Well, it depends on what you mean by convert. And that's where
Well-
I'm saying, like, when I say convert, I'm not saying that he can no longer be a Jew. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that.
But
What I'm saying
I'm trying to
is
say that
he's
for-
placed his faith in
I'm
Jesus.
not trying to dislodge our fair viewer at home, our fair listener at home from their previously held beliefs. I'm trying to add some context to how we think about the task that we have in front of us. Because the way that most people think about evangelical conversion in America, step one, I have to get them into the door of a church building. Step two, I have to have watched them raise their hand in the service. Step three, I had to have heard that sinner's prayer. If those things don't happen,
I think we can all.
They're not converted.
I think we can all agree that salvation comes down to lordship,
yeah.
right? And can you be a Jew and still have your lordship, your allegiance under Jesus? Yes. And that's what we see Paul doing. In fact, hey,
Yeah, he's gonna argue that a lot.
Jesus was a Jew, y'all. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, anyway, I'm not going to keep pushing the issue, but I just want to.
You were talking about Saul's conversion.
Yeah,
Continue.
Paul.
I'm
Saul
sorry.
Paul. Saul Paul.
I'm sorry.
Because he
Paul.
was Saul, actually. He was Saul when this happened.
He was still
If you want to talk
Saul
about his
later.
conversion, he was Saul.
He was
on the road to
referenced
Damascus.
as Saul when Jesus says, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? So, am I right? Fact check? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
There
thank
are
you.
other places that
Thank
he's
you.
also referred to as Saul.
That's
after
true.
he follows Jesus.
I know that his name doesn't change, if that's what you're alluding to. Okay. So he puts his faith to action. I think that's the part I want to get to.
My
He
wife's
puts
going
his-
to tell me to never make that face again.
Faith to
But she
action.
doesn't watch
Which
the show
face?
either. I'm not doing it again.
Pastor Chris, would you explain to us that obedience piece? How do we connect hope to obedience?
Yeah, I kind of got a little too early to it earlier. Obedience is the receipt. Obedience is the works cited, the bibliography
Yeah.
of your hope. It's
There it
it's the proof text.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do I demonstrate the hope that is in my heart? By my obedience, by my submission, by my fealty to the King.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, so Paul basically he's not saying, and to your point earlier, he's not saying that he's no longer a Jew. In fact, he's saying what he's walking in is the fulfillment
Right.
of the law and the prophets.
Correct. This is about
Yes.
fealty to the King. This is about obedience to the King, because Paul has the whole Jerusalem council where he argues with Peter about, Peter, you can't require these people to be circumcised. You can't. And then a couple chapters later, he takes Timothy on the road, and because he's taking him to a Jewish context, he takes him and has him circumcised. Wait a minute. You just did the thing that you had the dust up about. So is it about the action? Is it about my ethical behavior? My unethical? What is going on here? It's about your fealty to Jesus, your loyalty to the King.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, now that's the other tension of the other side, is it doesn't mean you do whatever you want and grace makes up the difference. That's not true either. He wrote a whole letter to the Romans about that. That's not what's happening either. But it's this tension in between my allegiance to Jesus and my obedience, my submission to his ways as outlined in his word. And so those two things together are the two-sided, the 2 feet of the steps of my walk with Jesus. Surrender, obedience, hear, obey,
Yeah. So if you think about the content of what Paul's actually telling these people, they actually believe these elements.
Yeah.
They believe that the Messiah is going to suffer. Whenever the Messiah comes, he's going to suffer.
He says that about our common hope.
That's
it's
right.
the hope that these guys have.
They believe,
I have the same hope.
They believe that the Messiah is going to rise from the dead.
They don't believe it's Jesus.
They just don't believe it's Jesus.
Right.
But he's trying to point out to them, hey, I mean, think about all the things that I'm describing to you. You actually believe these things.
Correct.
So like, I'm just trying to bring this into perspective. But it's interesting how Festus and Agrippa, how they react to Paul. Agrippa right away, Festus right away says, "You're insane. You're out of your mind. You're crazy.
Your great learning is driving you mad."
So why does faith, especially hope like this, seem so crazy to people who don't have it? Anna, that's for you.
It's so counterculture. If you don't have that faith, everything that you've based your life on and your existence on is like the opposite of this. So, I mean, the people he's talking to, Festus and Agrippa, are basing so much of their life on the whims of the gods who they don't know and they're not exactly sure how they can please them. Caesar, and there's so much works-based mentality in everything that they're doing. It's I'm going to do whatever pleases me right now, and I'm going to get out of anything that I don't want to do. I'm going to avoid pain at all costs. I mean, everything that Paul is embracing is the opposite of what they would say is a happy, healthy, successful life. And he's boasting in the gospel and saying, come on, you want this, but they also can't understand. They cannot fathom what it is to live that way. How can he boast in this while he's in chains?
Not just that, he's in chains, he's boasting in it, and then as soon as he senses an opening or opportunity, he goes for the throat. And they're like, "Whoa, wait! You convinced me to be a Christian? This is like what?
So, well, wait a second.
Are you trying to preach the gospel to me right now? Like, what are you doing?"
Yes. You want me to believe this?
Yeah. Paul
Absolutely, I do.
This is a different cat than Mars Hill. This is a
fact,
different dude than Acts 17.
In fact, let me read it. It says in verse 28 and 29, King Agrippa says, "In such a short time, would you persuade me to be a Christian?" And Paul replied, "In short time or long, I pray that you all become like me, except these chains."
Yeah.
Except for this.
I wish you'd all be like me, but not these.
Maybe not this.
That might be too far. I'll be like me in all of this.
Right.
Except for the chains.
But Paul's not defending himself. In fact, he's less concerned about saving his own life and trying to get out of the scenario. He's more concerned about influencing these people in this moment for the kingdom. So actually, Jordan, I want to ask you this question. How does that influence how we see evangelism? Like, especially when life is hard, especially when things are against
like this
you.
context right here.
He's a good one to ask this question about personal evangelism.
Well, and that's why
that's
why I'm asking him that question.
I'm validating. This is a strength.
Thank you. No, that was a good build-up. I feel
his.
more confident now. Going into this answer. Thank you.
Okay, never mind.
No, that was.
Are you just like you're just lavishing this moment?
Yeah.
I've said not nice things about you today. I want to say a couple of nice things.
Oh, well, thank you. Sincerely. Yeah.
We'll let
your
you have a few more
question,
moments if you want.
evangelism, even when it's hard, like in this context, right?
Yeah. How does that influence how we see evangelism?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, not to go to Greek, but evangelism is rooted in evangelios, which is the bringer of good news. So I love that in this context, rather than worry about how do I get myself out of a tough situation, Paul is focused on bringing the good news to people. And so we're seeing here now the kind of the fruit of his faith. That all right, going back to the beginning of Acts 1:8, "Kaimas testes mal martires," and you have
you be my
I call you
witnesses.
therefore to be witnesses. So rather than worry about the outcome for himself in this context, Paul is focused on how do I preach the good news, evangelios, how do I be a martires, a witness in this moment. That convicts me because it's very easy, I think, well, maybe it's not very easy. It's definitely easier to do evangelism, to be a witness, when there's no potential negative outcomes for us. I think it's incredibly challenging to do it when it could be your freedom on the line, or in his case, your life.
In that case, and this is some of what we talked about in small group last night, because we were talking about how is the conviction of this study when you've got something to lose, right? Whether it's reputation or someone's going to yell at you, friendship, yeah. So I think it's important to mention when we talk about evangelism. Number one, I think it's important to focus on the gospel. The gospel first. Don't look for a way out. Look for a way in. Don't look for a way out. Look for a way in. But then number two, applying the truth to pain means meeting people in their pain point.
Yep.
So the power of the gospel is, I'm not here to offer this conversion to you, sinner, because I need to watch you raise your hand and pray this prayer, and I need to do that in order to check off the box. No. The gospel answers the questions of your life. The gospel touches you and reaches you in your pain point. And so what I want to do is I want to apply the truth of the gospel, that Jesus came to bail you out. I want to apply the truth, and I'm looking for a way in, not for a way out.
Yeah, and it's truth delivered with grace.
Yeah. And
so
love.
when we're talking with our outreach leaders, we're talking about we want to share the love of Jesus. When we want to be clear about what it means to become a Christ follower, we also want to show the love of Jesus. I love the way Tim Keller puts it. He's like, if all you're doing is the speaking part of it, and you're not actually meeting physical needs, then you just come off as a person trying to get more jerseys for your team.
Wow.
You're not demonstrating care for those people. So I think both of those elements are very important when it comes to witnessing and evangelism.
Yes, and remembering that you're not on the cross. So remember, it is your job to spread the seed. It is not your job to die, to rise again on the third day. That ain't your job. It's your job. I sometimes think when we think about the parable of the sower, right, where we're going out and tossing seeds, I think sometimes people go, ooh, that looks like rocky ground, so I'm not going to throw the seed. No, I want you to note, what did the sower do on every ground?
Spread the seed.
Spread the seed.
That's right.
Because it is not your job to determine the ground, the receptiveness of the ground. I have many times spread seed in places where I thought, boy, it's never going to take there. And lo and behold, that was actually not the rocky ground. I just
and the
looked at
opposite
it
has happened as well.
And the opposite, where you go, man, this is a slam dunk. And then you go,
what happened?
Yeah, that escalated quickly. That went bad fast.
Right.
Growing up, I felt like if I shared and the person didn't come to Jesus, that I'd failed. It took me a while to realize, and so I want to share this with everyone now. I know people here at this table get it, but if you're listening, like Chris said, our job is to go forth and be witnesses, to share the good news, and then leave it up to God as to what the outcome is going to be.
Yep.
Do I have time for a quick
go ahead.
personal?
And then I've got a follow-up for you.
One of the first times I shared was with a kid in Albania, Olsi, and it was a big deal for me to do that, and he ended up saying, Jordan, I'm not ready. I'm Muslim. This would mean me losing my family. Like, I'm not going to do it. And I felt like I'd failed.
Yeah.
So I go home. A year passes. My brother ends up going on a trip to that same town, shares with that same kid, Olsi, and Olsi is sitting there, and he knows, Taylor, a year ago, I would have said no. And in fact, I did say no. He didn't know Taylor was my brother. He's like, I did say no to a kid named Jordan, but I've had a year to wrestle with it and think on it, and now I'm ready.
So you're saying that Taylor's a better Gill? Is that what he was better
Taylor,
to present the gospel?
If you're out there,
yeah. Taylor, if you're out there.
That's so cool, though, because...
you plant the seeds, and you never know
That's right.
what's going to happen.
Something that convicted
Paul
me...
says that. I planted, Apollos watered.
But God brought the growth.
God brought the growth.
Come on, man. Now, something that convicted me was I felt like the Lord told me, do you have to see the fruit of your obedience in order to be obedient?
Oh.
Like, can you just spread the seed and walk away and know that I'm going to handle it? Or are you looking...
That's convicting for me, too.
I mean...
Not just sharing, but praying. Oswald Chambers, in his book, Spiritual Leadership, one of his examples is a guy who prays for 3 friends his entire life that they would come to know Jesus. And they all come to Jesus after he died. So from his perspective, that's convicting for me.
That book, if you have not read, like it's not a new one. You're not going to find it in your local Barnes and Noble. It is a very old book. But that is one of the top 5 books I've ever read in my life.
Good.
Spiritual Leadership.
That one, coupled with, I think it's Pray by Name by Brian
Allred.
Yeah. So he talks about, pick 5 people, pray for them. So I've got my 5.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Front row.
I won't dime you out.
I got a follow-up for you.
I'm
reach your front row.
I got a follow-up for you. How do we connect evangelism to the hope that we have?
Oh, that's good. I know I've quoted him already, but I read a lot of his stuff, and I think he has great things to say. So Tim Keller, when he's talking about the essence of the gospel, and I'm paraphrasing here, so you can look it up. Tim Keller gospel quote, but I think it's the essence of the gospel is. Oh gosh! All right, give me a second.
Jordan Gill forgot something. Oh my gosh.
Hey Siri.
No. This is Jordan Gill remembering something.
Give me a second.
Yeah. Wait.
Chat GPT it.
Write this date down.
Okay, no. I got
Google
it. I got it.
Tim Keller.
It's recognizing that I'm so sinful that Christ had to die for me, but so loved that Christ was willing and able, wanted to die for me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it starts with that heart posture. So my hope is not in anything that I can do. My hope, my identity is in understanding that I'm loved and saved by the blood of Jesus Christ.
Right.
And now I get
Yeah.
to be a part of sharing that
Yeah.
good news with other people.
Can I validate another thing that he just said? And I think this is really, really important. People ask me all the time, are there any Bible podcasts or any Bible commentary or any Bible, like, is there anything I can listen to? And I'm a fan of audiobooks and I'm a fan of the Audible, but what he mentioned there, Tim Keller, Oswald Chambers, D.A. Carson,
Murray.
there are so many books that have withstood the test of time. C.S. Lewis. I mean, you read The Abolition of Man. Mere Christianity. Good grief.
Even a Grief Observed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Screw tape letters.
Read books. Read
books.
Read some books. The best way to, if you're struggling and understanding this, go find a father or mother who probably is in heaven now, but spent a lot of time writing down some really powerful stuff and read what they have to say.
Yeah.
And read it slowly. And, use some of your free time not watching a movie and doing that. And it'll help you way more than downloading the free version of Logos and just trying to go crazy, go nuts with commentators you've never even heard of before.
Yeah, I forget who it was, but my father-in-law, he used to say, he used to quote someone, I can't remember who it was, but he would say, buy books or read books, buy them. If you can't afford them, sell your bed.
Let me add on to that one more thing.
I listen to
audiobooks.
I listen to audiobooks voraciously, and the ones that I go, man, that is so good, I buy them, so that way I can go back and read through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just to attest to the biblical precedent for reading books outside of the canon and just their value, Wesley Huff, who's one of my favorite living apologists, Canadian, if you haven't listened to him, phenomenal. Yeah, he's great.
He could outlive you.
He's only 31, or at least he was. He might be 32 now, but when I watched
we should invite him on the show.
Challenge Wes Huff, come on the show and lift with
Nick.
Nick.
Wes, we'd love to have you.
Come on, man. The big three. Bench,
your debate
squat,
with Billy
deadlift.
Carson,
Let's
the
do it,
most
buddy.
polite theological beatdown I've ever seen of anybody.
He's very
It was good.
Canadian, so he's
No,
predisposed to be.
but
He
more
says
polite.
when you look at how Luke is structured, it's clear that Luke had read guides on how to do biographies of that day because he's structuring it the way that. So it just points to like there is real value in reading quality literature outside of,
Yes.
and that does not
That
replace
helps
scripture.
deepen
Yeah, it helps deepen
where you're
There you
at.
go.
Yeah.
Helps you get a good understanding.
Last question. This is for everybody. When you think about your own life.
No, don't say what you're going to say.
Wait, you were about to say something?
No, keep going.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I didn't
good.
hear that.
I was looking at you and like, all right, here we
You
go.
were.
And then he's like,
I wanna
move
hear-
on.
I wanna hear it now.
As we're talking about evangelism and that realization of recognizing your own sin and your own need and Christ's willingness to die for you, I go back and I look at Paul, who's been through all kinds of injustice. That's what we talked about last week. And yet here he is giving another, it's not even a trial, where you pointed out in the beginning of this, anything he says can only serve to
Can
do
and
more
will be
harm
used
for
against him. Yeah.
And yet, he presents this in such a way that the gospel is preached and has merit. He's living in such a way, even in the midst of injustice. So he could get up there and go, let me show you my testimony. Let me tell you about this with bitterness and malice toward the people who have wronged him. And yet, and I think maybe there's something too why he's willing to share his past, because he recognizes, if not for the Damascus Road experience, I too would be here right now.
I'd be on the other side, and someone
I'd be on the other
else
side
would
of
be up
this.
here, and we'd be condemning them.
There's so much compassion and conviction that he has.
It's what rocked me to my core when I was studying up on St. Patrick before I got to preach in the church he founded in 432
In Downpatrick.
AD, in Downpatrick.
Yeah.
And he wasn't born Irish.
Right.
He was
taken in slavery.
He was kidnapped. He was enslaved.
Yeah.
Citizen of
And
Rome.
He was so taken by the plight of his kidnappers. Stop. Stop.
Wow.
He was so taken by the plight of his kidnappers
Come on, man.
that
That's gospel.
upon being freed, he went to minister to them in their pain. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Like that kind of forgiveness and that kind of, I mean, how many of us would have taken this stand, given the opportunity to speak and gone, you know what? None of you turds are worth it.
Yeah.
I've got the gospel. The Lord
That's
spoke
the King
to me.
James version right
the Lord
there.
spoke to
None of
me,
you.
and I'm going to be fine. But he told me that you all are hosed.
Not so much.
Not so much. If you know the movie I'm quoting and what
Yeah.
I'm saying, then you have no room to judge me. Yeah. How many of us would have stood up in that stand and gone, you know what? You're not worth it. All the injustice that you've served to me,
This is how
you're
I
not
feel.
worth it.
Yeah, rocky soil. I'm not gonna-
you know what?
I'm not
Forget
gonna
it.
waste
I'm not
it.
going to toss my. I'm not
Yeah.
going to toss my gospel. I'm not going to toss my gospel seeds. I'm not going to shoot my gospel shots
Yeah.
and waste it on the soil over here. And he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It'll
That's convicting.
kick
It's
you in the
encouraging,
it'll kick you
all
in
at the
shin.
same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So one last question. As we think about our own lives, think about ministry, think about family, think about all of the pressures of life. What does a hope that won't quit look like for you?
That's a good one.
A hope that won't quit.
It won't quit.
I think of members of my family. I think of my dad's walk with Jesus right now in the midst of all that's happening and him holding on and clinging. I think of more particularly my wife's faith than mine. If you know anything of our story, 2011 into 2014, I get hit by the car and almost die. But just our whole story for that 3 or 4 years, the gap of the seemingly, I mean, I don't know. I remember I was driving Morganton Road, it's 2011. The Lord said, I almost heard an audible voice, do you trust me? And I thought, ooh, this is going to be good. I mean, he must be getting ready for some blessing. He's going to open the windows of heaven, you know what I'm saying? And to steal your line, he gave me the gift I did not want.
Yeah.
And 4 years of what felt like hell on earth. But watching my wife hold on to hope and tenacity and belief, and there's another child. That other child, by the way, is about to turn 13, and there are moments where, anyway, if not for her tenacity, try again. If not for her tenacity, hold on.
Yeah.
If not for her tenacity, I think of people in my life. That's what hope that doesn't quit looks like.
Hope that don't quit.
Hope that don't quit.
Come on, man.
Hope that don't quit. Listen, I'm the pastor of one of the largest churches in America. I'm a pretty decent preacher. I'm on this podcast. We've got followership, this, that, and the next. If I can't do it alone, you can't either. Hope that don't quit does not look like digging deep. Notice I did not say I digged real deep and grabbed hold of the guts in my blood and held on tight to the hope that no. I grabbed hold of some arms of some people around me and just hung on for dear life. That's what hope that don't quit looks like.
Good. What about you guys?
I've got stories, but when I was thinking about that question, I actually saw, I remember things visually, and so I just saw Chris, you standing on stage a couple months ago, actually talking about your dad and the decision. I think you put it this way: the enemy's not going to get the glory from this story. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. We're going to pray for healing. But regardless of what God does, the enemy isn't going to get the glory from this. God is going to be glorified.
No. Yeah.
And that's what came to mind. It's that determination that no matter what, when the enemy has done his worst or his best to knock you down, you're determined, no, God's going to get the glory from this.
Yep.
It's all for him.
That's the hope that won't quit right there.
Nick, do you mind if I jump in here a little bit? He unmuted my mic, so here I am.
Go ahead.
Yeah, especially when it comes to ministry, we talked about it last week. Jeff, when he preached, he talked about sometimes we look around at the pressures of life around us, the culture, the things that are happening, and sometimes, especially in ministry, as we're carrying out the gospel, there's some sense of like, oh, it's never been this bad. Or like it's only getting worse. And there's sometimes where, when we're walking out issues in ministry and we just think like, oh man, like this is so much. And then I realize sometimes I find hope in just the persistence of the gospel since Jesus resurrected into heaven. Like there's some times where we can get pressured as the church and go, oh, look, how is this going? How are we going to make it through this? And it's like, if he has continued the power of the gospel for all of this time, then this is only another step that we are taking. So I can take hope of like, it's hope that has lasted for thousands of years at this point. Like, the enemy has not won and he never will. Jesus is always victorious. So I can always found myself
His
like the
kingdom
hope
will not be shaken.
Yes.
We were just in Warsaw at the Warsaw Uprising Museum, and I said to my wife, you know what really grabs hold of me is I hear a lot of people talking about the challenge and the plight that our country finds itself in. And I'm standing in a place with Pro-Am, ministering the paint off the walls. They had 700 kids come to know Jesus last 700.
Oh, wait, 700 salvations?
Salvations.
Last
Teenagers
week?
in camps.
Through their
Last
camps.
week.
Yeah.
Through their camps.
So that's not even counting like church services or
Not church
Wow.
services.
Yeah.
Guys, God is moving powerfully in a nation that less than 100 years ago. I mean, you want to talk about the plight of a nation? They were taking people to concentration camps in train cars. I'm not saying burying your head in the sand, it's all good, everything's going to be fine. I didn't say that. I did say the gospel works all the flipping time everywhere and in every culture, and it's never been defeated, and it has tipped in the West, y'all. Like even our conversation of rights, even our conversation of how government should or shouldn't be structured, our idea of the rights of the common man. These are Judeo-Christian ideas. The gospel has won. Jesus has triumphed. And if we start operating from a posture of offense, that's what Paul's on right here.
That's
This ain't
right.
defense.
This is not defense.
This is not defense. Paul's going, get out of my way. I'm going to dunk on you.
If he was playing defense, he would have said nothing.
Nothing. Clammed up and kept his mouth shut.
If I can add to that, and that's going to be my closing
Sorry.
answer. I'm convicted by this story, Paul in this room, and the course of action he chooses. As you know, when we're faced with situations, do we see them as an obstacle? How do I get out of this? Or an opportunity? How do I glorify God, regardless of what the outcome is for me? So that's convicting for me.
Yep.
And that helps me when I've got that kingdom posture, that kingdom mindset, even if it, from a worldly perspective, it might seem like a loss, or as Festus is saying, an insane thing to do. You can never go wrong with Evangelios, preaching the good news, and Martyres, being a witness.
Jesus told his disciples, Matthew 16:24, if anyone would come after me, let them deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. Deny themselves, take up their cross. Not just, well, I got up this morning with a burden, so somebody must have tossed a cross on me, so I guess I should get this cross across the finish line until I can feel better about my day. I'm not belittling your day, friend. I'm not saying that. I am saying, regardless of what's going on around you, are we going to be the ones who put our shoulders to the plow of what God is doing in his kingdom and his kingdom advancing on the earth, or are we not? So if we are, then let's put on our evangelism hats, our red outreach hats, and let's do it.
That's good.
Yeah, let's put on that Ephesians 6 armor.
Come on.
Here we go.
Well, hey, next week we are going to do chapter 27 and chapter 28, and that is the
Finishing it
end
up.
of the book of
Whoa.
Acts. So we want to make sure you guys tune in next week because it's going to be a double episode. So it's
Big
going to be
finish.
a 2-hour-long episode, chapter 27 and 28 of Acts, and we're going to have the meat
I was
and
going to say,
potatoes.
we're going to have a snack break.
That's it. Well,
okay.
we're going to have the meat and potatoes right here. So, but we're not done. We've got one more final segment. So, producer Bryson, what do you got for us?
Yeah, we have our Manna mailbag.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Manna
there it is.
mailbag?
Yeah.
When I hear that, I think of Blue's Clues.
Yes,
It's mail
exactly.
time. I know that was off key.
Speaks
but
to the age of his children.
That's good.
All right, so we have a fun question here. It's from Deanne the Boss 2962, aka D Bowie, who's been on the show.
We know her.
It's like, we
what
don't
a
know her,
dope
do we?
Yeah. I know.
hashtag.
So her Manna mailbag question: 'Tis the season to be scary. It's it's nearing Halloween. There's a lot to be said about it, but I'm wondering
much.
what you say specifically about scary movies and what the Bible specifically has to say. Is this another area of conviction, or is a hard don't do it?
Before we even get to the answer, I just got to say, this has been a hot button topic on the socials. I've noticed this. I don't know if you've seen it, but on the socials, people are talking about what Christians believe in regards to, do you celebrate Halloween? Do you watch scary movies?
yeah, I
This
saw
is a
that.
thing right now.
Okay.
So anyway, but yeah,
I
do you got?
mean, Jurassic Park was a scary movie for 8-year-old Jordan. So
okay.
The Bible does not talk about movies. The Bible does say that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but we do wrestle against principalities,
Cosmic powers. Yep.
spiritual darkness. I would encourage you to bear in mind the difference between fantasy. So, Lord of the Rings, this is a fantasy. This is fantasy. This is medieval made up dragons and King Arthur. This is fantasy. I'm not talking about that. When I was a kid, people would tell me, stop making such a big deal about scary movies. They're not real. Well, some of these supernatural, demonic horror flicks, Ouija boards, seance, things of that nature. Forgive me, I'm sounding old.
Demon stuff.
Sounding old. I think you could probably guess by looking at me, I'm not that prudish. It is amazing to me how many people want to have a long conversation about tattoos and then want me to come watch The Ring with them. But anyway, that's if that was a low blow, my bad.
Zing.
Well, I think you should take very careful. I think you should take. You should operate at the level of your faith, and I think you should take a really long look at what you expose your soul to, your mind, your will, and your emotions. I won't get into too much demonology, demonic activity, but you Christians should take great care what we put our bodies, the danger we put our bodies in, and the danger we put our souls in, your mind, your will, and your emotions, because you can have demonic spiritual interaction in your soul cavity and have some real situations going on there.
Okay.
What's the verse in Luke that it talks about the eyes being the window to the soul? Am I getting that right?
It's in the Sermon on the Mount too.
There you go.
The eyes the window of the soul. If therefore the eye's bad. Yep. That's in Matthew 5.
So without
Luke 2.
Without being legalistic, I do think Americans can have a tendency to be naive about the effects and the impact of what we are consuming with regards to media.
We were just in Poland.
Yeah.
We went into a shop. This is not a me as the positive example or whatever, but they called themselves a magic shop. I walked in and I saw blatantly satanic symbols and then artifacts around the shop, and they were talking to each other, and I don't speak Polish, but I know enough to know some of what they were saying, and I just sensed I wanted to leave. Something about what was alive in me and something about what was alive over there did not jive. And so I wanted to get out. I wanted to get out of there. I didn't have the jurisdictional authority to take it on.
It wasn't a fear thing.
It was not
It was
a fear
a wisdom thing.
I was not afraid. That was not a fight. I'm not going to get into a fight in a ground where I have no jurisdiction.
And, I think that's worth mentioning because I think in my experience when I've told people that personally I do not watch scary movies, I don't watch horror movies.
I do
people
watch
think
psychological thriller.
well,
I do watch movies with jump scares. I do watch stuff like I've watched on VidAngel, but I've watched The Walking Dead. Like this is zombie. This is
like that's actually fictional stuff.
That's for real fiction.
Right. But when we talk about like paranormal,
there is no Mordor
type of stuff.
There are no ring wraiths.
Right. When we talk about like demonic stuff, like
Those
that
are real.
stuff is real.
That's real.
When I've had these conversations with people, they come back to me like, "Oh, well, you just must be living in fear." And my thing to them is, no, it's not a fear thing. It's a wisdom thing. Your dad,
I'm not being entertained by
your
fear.
dad used to say all of the time, and this is a spiritual principle we can live by: expectation is invitation. So if I expect the presence of God to move in my life, then I'm inviting his presence to move in my life. But don't you know that works for the spirit of darkness as well? If I watch some movie that causes me to be in fear, and that feeling you get after a movie where you walk into a dark room and you're like hearing a noise and you're wondering what's next and what's around the corner, well, you're somewhere along those lines, you have this expectation to experience supernatural demonic activity, and you're inviting it into your life.
Don't watch anything not on purpose, and don't dull your spirit and your soul's sensitivity to recognizing when you're in a tight spot, because by lumping that in the camp of pure entertainment, you can find yourself in a place where everyone else is being entertained, and that's not what's going on here.
Yeah. I know recently it's like we were talking about something. I was talking with a friend about some stuff that was happening in the world, and I was like, what? I just decided I can't watch that stuff. And the Lord brought this scripture back to mind, and it was Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it springs life.
The wellspring
right?
of life.
The wellspring of life.
Wellspring of life.
That verse has almost always been applied only, as far as I've heard it taught a lot of youth group,
like relationships,
to moral life, to purity.
Keep yourself sexually pure.
Yeah,
keep your heart.
Yourself, sexually pure.
Right.
Yeah.
And yes, apply it that way. But God's word is true in every aspect of our lives. So he said, this is what it means to guard your heart. be careful what you watch. Be careful what you take in, because it does get inside of you, and everything in your life is going to flow from that place.
Not just what you watch, but what you read.
Yeah, what you're consuming.
Social media.
Really, that's what it is. What you're consuming.
What you're consuming. At the same time, what you participate in.
Yeah.
So I think people are, I find Christians' well-readedness on where all the pagan holidays come from annoying. I find it very annoying, because I don't step out of my house on Halloween night and feel the need to hide from the Halloweeners and the Halloweenies running around.
Halloweenies.
If the crowd is gathered, then that is my opportunity to present the gospel.
Come on, man.
And to be different.
Be a light in the darkness.
And at the same time, if your kids are, look, whoever said putting on a costume and going and knocking on a neighbor's door and getting candy, who said, please find for me where that's
Inherently a
bad.
sin?
Please find for me where that's bad.
This is a great conversation.
This is a great conversation because it comes into things like music, right? It's a vehicle to something. I do think Halloween has taken a very dark turn in terms of how people are decorating their homes and the type of costumes and the type of evil to which children are being exposed to at too young of an age.
Yeah, there's often a celebration of death.
Yeah, death, and it's just kids' excuse to wear something skimpy and drink too much.
I was going to say, so like, I'm not going to
So-
let my kids dress up like some demon. I'm not going to let that happen. However, like dressing up like Spider-Man.
I have
Spider-Man
a
on the
recurring
table.
costume. I put a name tag on, and it says vegan. And so I introduced myself on Halloween night. I introduced myself as a
You're
vegan.
a troll.
Or you could be the direct TV Chris.
Yeah.
Who's different from the
Cable guy.
Chris.
I'm going to
Yeah.
have Nick Cougar.
Oh, that's good.
I'm going to get a name tag. I should walk around the neighborhood as Nick Cougar.
Is your kid dressing up
probably
as
shouldn't
Tom
do
Holland
that.
Spider-Man, or
We should do like an on-location video this
If you
weekend.
do that, hand out like a QR code to the podcast.
There
with
you
Nick
go.
Cougar,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
otherwise
Oh,
you're
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
Oh, man,
really
that'd be fun.
creepy.
Do things on purpose. Do things on purpose. Be well read on why you're doing things. Have an explanation as to why you're doing things, and spend a little more time understanding where people are coming from and the things that they're doing, and a little less time demonstrating your half-baked knowledge of pagan holidays. Love you,
good.
mean it.
That's good. Well, hey, we want to keep hearing these questions. If you've got questions, whether they're about ministry, the Bible, just practical living, make sure you drop them in the comment section down below. We would love to answer them on the Manna Mailbag. So, you got anything else for us, Producer Bryson? I do not. No, that's a no.
We don't have
They
your
turned
mic
off his
either.
mic. So he's done.
Everyone's asleep.
That's it. Hey, I tell you what, we love you guys, though. We've been experiencing some growth. We have tens of followers. I don't know. Tens of
I'm looking at you,
subscribers.
South Africa. I'm looking at you,
Yeah.
Jamaica.
That's right. My goodness. But for real, make sure you subscribe. If you like this, share it with somebody. Invite them into our community. We would love to have these discussions with more people. Anyway, we love you guys. God bless you. Have a great week. And until next time, let's change the world. Check out our website, manna.church, to find ways you can get connected with our services, small groups, outreaches, and more.